Flame on! How's everybody doing tonight? I'm here with my special guest. You know what? I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. How you doing, Jerry? Good to see you.
Thank you for not playing that damn song.
Wait, what song are you alluding to?
Don't you dare.
I seriously have no idea what you're talking
about. Don't you
dare! No, seriously, I'm genuinely confused. But in all seriousness, welcome back to the next New Direction Verse episode. Well, if you're new to the channel or new to the show, this is a little podcast Jared and I do where we revamp mediocre, popular or unpopular storylines and put a little special twist on them. This one was actually specially requested a while back for the Dispatch video game. Now, Jared, do you want to provide a quick recap, or you just want to get right into it?
In terms of Dispatch?
Yeah, because it's relatively recent. Like the whole game pretty much came out within the span of like a month.
Yeah, exactly. So Dispatch is basically a workplace comedy superhero game in the vein of like Telltale games, where it's like a choose your own adventure, which I very much enjoyed the game. I felt it was really fun. I went more Blonde Blazer for obvious reasons. And I think that the interesting thing about the game is like it shouldn't work, but it really does.
Yes, because contrary to popular belief, this game went through production hell. Well, this is a poor example, but almost The Flash in terms of production hell.
It was almost a TV show.
Yeah, and they got scrapped. But when there's will, there's a way, especially with COVID. And someone finally took a chance, and this game definitely paid off. From the cast, from the layout. But I digress. You've at least seen at least one compilation or two of the game itself. That's not what you're here for. How would this apply to DC? Well, I know we did use the New 52 as a template for the New Direction verse, but we may have to start pulling a rebirth here. And actually integrate the JSA.
I was about to say, be careful when you involve me in integrating rebirth in anything.
I'm just using it as an analogy. You knew what I was alluding to.
I'm just kidding.
But banter aside, basically, because as we all know, Robert, or your main character, is a legacy hero. And you go from Bobby or Robert Jr. and then Robert the First. Robert the First was around the era of the JSA prior to their disbandment. I would say he was and he had learned a lot of tech know-how from Starman and Stripe, or at least our version did.
Yeah.
He helped them out from time to time, but he was this is Robert Robertson the First, mind you. He mostly helped out from time to time, but he was mostly on crowd control and collateral damage cleanup. So he wasn't really in the limelight because, again, he wasn't active during World War II. I mean, it was like literally in the aftermath of the war before he even got his prototype mech suit off the ground. And that thing was just a bucket of bolts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And you can make it where Strife and him geeked out about technology, and that's how they
bonded.
Yeah, and Stripe helped him build the suit and stuff, and says, but basically, you don't need superpowers to be a hero.
Yeah, Ted Grant's the biggest example of that. Now, I could see Wildcat giving Bobby hell.
Mm-hmm.
I get not Robert Robertson the First, Robert's dad, Junior, Bobby. Because after that stunt he pulled, becoming Astral and completely trying to revamp the Mecha Man name with the Justice Brigade, I could see Ted having some words with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see it.
Like, your dad just died and you pulled this crap.
Mm-hmm.
And in case you haven't read the tie-in comics, Bobby is an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying he deserved to get got, but Bobby's a bit of an asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
Jared, you want to take over for a bit?
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to remember the tie-in comics for that, but all I remember is that they basically show like the transition from Mecha Man Senior to Mecha Man Junior, and doesn't it basically show also the end of him being a hero? Oh no, that was actually the first game. I remember it now.
Yeah, that's the first episode. It briefly mentions it.
Yeah, but it's like the comics kind of delve into his thoughts on taking over as the hero, which was kind of cool. I got to be honest, it's like that collection edition just for the tie-in comics.
Yeah, I agree. And Nemo to answer, let me guess, Blonde Blazer and Mega Man. Okay, this is a controversial choice, but I would say, at least in our version, Robert doesn't officially make a decision.
Yeah, because it's like there's a lot. There's a lot. I mean, if I had my way, he would pick Blazer, but it's like the thing about it. It's like that's a little bit like do you like because the problem with a choose your own adventure game is that Jay Heat and I are trying to fit in the plot of a choose your own adventure game into a linear story. So it's like the biggest choice in the game is Blonde Blazer versus Invisigal. Which one do you pick? So and it is possible to not pick either one. So let's just like go with that because that way you avoid all that like how do we fit this in?
Not saying that he doesn't feel a connection to both of them. It's just the fact that during key points, Robert focuses more on like, hey, these former villains are trying to rebuild themselves. They were likely felt compelled to after Thor's rampage. Let me prioritize that instead of committing a bloody HR violation.
Mm-hmm.
Though would Invisigal or Courtney confront Rob? Basically, she sabotaged the Mega Man suit to get out of Shroud's debt. I feel like similar to the game, she comes clean.
Mm-hmm. I would say so too.
But Robert, like, hey, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but right now, let's just focus on taking Shroud down. You don't owe me anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they do, and that kind of leads to like, yeah. It's so that way it's like, oh, and but do we do? Let's establish this. What direction, pun intended, is Invisigal going in? Because you know that's one of the other choose your own adventure moments.
Especially if you weren't very good at the mini games. Let's just say she's redeemed for the moment because again, Robert didn't give her a direct answer in our version, so she's at least a bit more invested in that. Do her and what's Blonde Blazer's civilian name? Mandy, something like that.
Yeah, Mandy, yeah, it is.
Yeah, Mandy and Courtney still butt heads, but at least while in the office, while in the dispatch office, they can at least tolerate each other in the same room.
I'll agree.
But okay, so who turns depending on your playthrough and who you choose to fire, the weak link is the one who turns rogue in the end. In my playthrough, I ended up firing the mercenary. In
Which
my
one?
the silver swan. What was her name?
Oh yeah, I think it's yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's the one I eventually went with firing because like the Batman guy was just too hilarious. I'm not getting rid of him.
Yeah, Nemo, we're live. This is live. We are discussing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Coupe. Thank you, Nemo. Thank you.
Thank you. And Nemo, he did answer your question, so.
To be fair, they are having a conversation.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's like Coop is the one that I was like, yeah, I'm fine with letting her go. But plus, with me, I went with whichever one synergized with the hero I used a lot, and I sent Malevola on a lot of assignments. And if you sent her with Sonar, you would get certain bonuses for your objectives. So I'm like, I'm gonna keep the one I actually use.
Now, here's another big hurdle: fast track.
Who's fast track again?
The Robert's mentor. I think is here.
Oh yeah, you mean the one who had super speed and then almost died?
Yeah, you knew that was going to be a fake out. We all knew that was going to be a fake out. But he does get the amulet at the end. But I would say I would actually do something significant here because, as we know from the tie-in comics, spoiler for the tie-in comics, Bobby died when Robert III was about 15 to 16. Then he,
Mm-hmm.
if I remember correctly, I could be wrong. I want to say he was in his early to mid teenage years
Mm-hmm.
when Shroud killed Bobby. Then he ends up, feeling vengeful, going on escapades for acting as a solo act for a few years, and then you get to the events of the main game.
Mm-hmm.
I would say during this time, because again, we still have to follow the New 52 as a template. Instead of joining the Titans, is briefly sponsored by Grayson,
Mm-hmm. I like that.
and he acts as a direct protege to him. What was his name? The speedster. What was his name?
Oh yeah, I know who you were talking about, but yeah, exactly. I don't remember his name for that thing. Let me actually.
Yeah, let's actually look that up. Please.
Yeah, yeah, I have it. I'll pull up on IMDb.
Yeah, that'll make this go a lot smoother. Phenomenon is another Superman, yet no apparent weakness except for heartbreak.
Chase.
Phenomenon. Chase, thank you. Yes. Chase ultimately finds out what Nightwing's doing. Okay, why is this? Okay, why is this goddamn circus boy prancing around giving Robert false hope? Okay, that makes sense. And then Chase all of a sudden like speeds over to Wayne Manor, and this is like the last sprint of his youth
Mm-hmm.
before we finally see him to where he is in the present day. And he pretty much spends it speeding over to Wayne Manor, finds one of the secret passages to the Batcave, and this is just a pissed off Chase, so he just doesn't care. And he tries to speed blitz Bruce. The only reason he doesn't is because, he ages as he runs. So he loses momentum and nearly crashes to the side of the Batmobile.
Mm-hmm.
I would be mad, but given the fact that I'm essentially a father myself, I can't blame him.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like he and maybe Macaman Senior reminisce about having teenagers that sneak out and cause trouble, except with like powers.
Okay, let's actually clear that up right now. Yeah, the reason Great Nightwing would go out of his way to sponsor and go out of his way for Robert after this happened is because, well, Grayson befriended Robert while Chase was babysitting him one day, and they were all just hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time Bobby gets taken out by Shroud, and how in the events of that, how that in the aftermath of that, Grayson wants to help him, or at least steer his vengeance in a better direction. No pun
Yeah.
intended.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically, how would Richard go about doing this? Does he steal some tech from the Batcave, or does he try to take something from the armory at Wayne Enterprises?
I'd say he tries to like sneak into Wayne Enterprises and take stuff.
And Alfred and Bruce immediately find out.
Yeah, and then Bruce, and they're like, "How did you know?" And then Bruce is like, "Are you really asking that question?"
Could you at least pretend to be surprised?
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
It was different when I took you in, Grayson. When I took you in, Dick. It was a necessity. What you're doing is giving this kid false hope. And you're doing it for the wrong reasons. I'm doing it for the wrong reasons? You took me in, Bruce. You helped me from my worst. Look, we get it. Astro was an asshole, but at the end of the day, he was still Robert's dad. If you had a chance to take down Joe Chill, would you have taken it?
And you can have Bruce saying, "I did have the chance, but vengeance doesn't solve anything."
Especially in our line of work.
And by the way, Nemo asked, "What would the astral pulse be based off in the new direction?" I say apocalypse technology.
Apocalypse Tech, inner gang.
Yeah, that's the easiest way to go with. It's like, yeah, you have inner gang, so it's like people are reverse engineering apocalypse tech all the time.
Yes, I would feel, and then Shroud. Shroud does have the original prototype, which Astral did power the second Mega Man suit off of, but it was lost in his falling out because Astral. I mean, when Shroud got the patent for the prototype, he was collaborating directly with Astral sponsor, with the Bridge Brigade sponsors. When he fell out and became a villain, he lost access to the patent. He couldn't even get a buyout for his trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically the main reason he wanted to join the team, at least in our version. That way he can get sponsorships. That way he can actually use the Astral Bolt to power and help first responders, and ultimately just do good. But Bobby would never give Shroud the time of day. He kind of treated him like Incrediboy or later syndrome. Just not as parasocial or fan obsessed.
Oh, that works. I like that.
And like, no, I'll offer you a buyout for the patent. If you just want a field test for the Astral Pulse, I'll buy you out for the patent.
Hmm.
But no, I'm not letting you join the team. I mean, can you imagine a lawsuit if you did something stupid or God forbid you got someone killed?
Yeah, that
I
works. I
feel
like
like in
it.
I feel like in this version, our version, Bobby would at least be a bit more honest about it instead of the
Hmm.
Time comic where he just kept leading him on for years on end.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
then
exactly.
plus maybe fuels based off formulas of the anti. Let's not go too far with this.
Here's the thing: you can't base a formula off the anti-life equation because the anti-life equation is not like a physical thing.
It's really not. It's
So,
really
when we say apocalypse technology, apocalypse technology is not based off the anti-life equation itself. It's just based on like the
tech from
technology made
Apocalypse.
from apocalypse. Yeah.
Now, would I have Mecha Man join the Titan? Again, since we're following the New 52 as a template, the Titans didn't form in that continuity. At least not the standard version of the team.
Yeah, I mean, it's the but remember, this is the new direction verse, so we could do whatever we want. As a matter of fact,
Fair enough. I would just, I was respecting you, Jared, trying to keep the original template. But if this is your call,
but it's like we can form them later. We don't necessarily have to form them now, though.
yeah, agreed. Just remember at one point, not a founding member, but Robert as Mecha Man does become a member
Mm-hmm.
until Chase finds out and forces him to quit.
Yeah, I would say so too.
But back to the present day. So the events of the game pretty much play out very similar. This is like right after Godkiller 2, like a couple of, well, I would say around the same time as Wonder Woman's detainment from issue
Mm-hmm.
4. And please, I'll probably pin the Godkiller 2 video if you guys haven't already seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, just communities rebuilding, trying to make more of an effort to help, with crime and metas, and even a bunch of Z-list villains who mostly got busted for petty crimes just feel inspired to at least give back in some way.
And I feel like at this point, this is when like those secret like contingency plans start being like considered like Suicide Squad or something like that, just in case like if the metahumans ever go crazy because of what happened with Wonder Woman and the Red Lantern ring.
Oh, definitely.
So it's like you're seeing a lot more of like the government start to like take certain measures that it's like while the metahumans are uncomfortable, they understand why they're taking those steps.
Now, as you also know from that video, we also we revamped the JLA and the Justice League as two separate teams. But I feel like, especially when it comes to super cosmic threats, we would have a Justice League Unlimited situation where the majority of the hero community comes together.
Yeah, it would be a uniting of factors, but it's like, oh, actually, we can use that JLA because remember what was the original origin of the new 52 JLA, J Heat?
As a countermeasure against the original 7 as a contingency.
Yeah, exactly. So you know what? We can just use that.
Pretty much. And that led to Wally West and Artemis. Wally doesn't actively try to pursue Linda after being anchored back into the new continuity by Barry. He kind of tries to move. And yeah, Artemis is a bit of a rebound in context, but Wally wants to make it work. Mm-hmm. And if you want to see how that ended up, check out our Heroes in Crisis.
Yeah, exactly. And because like that was always the other thing. It's like during that period, it really seemed like everyone was determined to like DC Comics was determined to crap on Wally West. And I'm like, oh, come on, guys. I get that you don't like Legacy, but don't character assassinate a character.
Well, they did try to prop Wallace West into the forefront due to CW synergy, and when fans didn't vibe with it, I'm just saying. I mean, the comics industry is known to be petty. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But what else? I mean, we pretty much covered the. Would Shroud have the same motivation? Now he does want to get back at Mecha Man. He does want to get the Astro Pulse back. But would Shroud have the same motivations, and would Robert kill Shroud in the end?
Well, here's what you could do. Here's an idea that I had. Shroud steals technology from Lex Luthor, and that's how he builds like the like spider suit that like he
Yes.
uses. So what you do is you make it so Lex Luthor gives the override codes to Robert and says, "I don't like when people steal from me."
And this would be around the time he donned the Superman armor.
Yeah, exactly. So he has the Superman armor, but like his like most advanced technology was stolen by Shroud. So Lex goes to the
LA, Los Angeles.
Yeah, and basically goes, no, he stole my technology. I go, why should we trust you? And he goes, because I don't like being stolen from.
He gets one chance to stand down, or I beat the crap out of him and take my tech back.
Yeah, exactly. Because if there's one thing Lex Luthor does not like, it's being embarrassed.
Or cheated, or stolen from.
Or stolen from. Any of those he doesn't like. So it's like, if you have all three of those, no, Lex is gonna, like, what he'll do is he'll covert, he goes to the SDN because he's like, and then you can have Robert say, why didn't you go to the Justice League with this? And then Robert goes, because I have and then Lex goes, because I have a reputation to uphold.
Was that before or after you played copy Superman when the doppelganger died?
And then we can have him go, first off, the doppelganger did not die, and second off, I still have a reputation to uphold. I can't be seen going to the Justice League for help.
So basically, you're mad you got bitched. That's Cameron's comment.
Yeah, exactly. And then, exactly. And then Lex goes, I wouldn't exactly put it that way, but I guess if you want to say in a very simpleton way.
I think the funniest part about this is that Phenomenon cannot understand sarcasm. Like, Lex is just trolling him asunder, and Phenomenon just can't take sarcasm. It'd be like Drax in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, exactly.
But how do we deal with Chase's illness? Like, do we set him up at Star Labs? Do we connect him to the Speed Force?
I wouldn't say connect him to the Speed Force because that could make him a little too overpowered because
he's got the amulet too.
Yeah, I think that what you want to do, because that did establish stakes in the game, so let's keep him like where if he used the powers he could die. I would make it more like he has one good run left, and then it's like, and then he either dies or loses his powers. So he's saving that for that one moment to save everyone.
When he absolutely needs it.
Yeah, exactly.
But
let's see.
Like, say that's what's so limiting about this, because we only have the one season and we're still waiting on word from season 2.
As far as I know, they're making a season 2, but yeah, we don't know that much. So I'm like, what do we do? It's like there's not that much that like we could really go for, but for the most part, it's mainly like now it would be. So what's the SDN in the DC universe though?
Okay, SDN would be more like similar to. It would just be like a first responder network.
Oh, I got it. It's a division of the It's like a division of the Justice League where like Justice League hopefuls go before they are like allowed into the actual league
through the Unlimited Initiative. It's kind of like a precursor.
Yeah, essentially what it does is it gives them a chance to like prove that they know what they're doing, and then once they graduate from that, like how you have the dispatch grades in the game. Once you graduate that, then you're offered league membership officially.
No sidekicks allowed.
No sidekicks allowed, exactly.
Because most sidekicks are underage, and that's a whole other can of worms.
Yeah. You don't want to be accused of child endangerment.
Which I could see Damien being a little PO'd about it, but he'd understand it. Like, I don't really need the Justice League. I got my own thing going on.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
But we've covered a lot of bases. So how would this impact post Thor or post Godkiller?
Okay, post Godkiller would be more like, because the Justice League was depleted by Thor going on a rampage and bodying people. They're like pulling double duty. It's kind of like later on in the game when you're like when like everyone is short staffed and you have to deal with like all the issues. So it's like It's like essentially Blazer is like frantic when Robert comes into work. He's like, "What's going on?" He goes, "The Justice got their ass kicked by a god, and now we have to do all their work."
Wait, would Waller have a problem with it? I mean, she gets outvoted in the matter. This is a government sanctioned thing.
Yeah, it's like government's like, either get with the program or we'll shut you down. And then you can have like either the president or like whoever's the liaison. Like, we'll use Steve Trevor. We'll give him a use. Steve goes, okay, it's either this, because let me put it this way: this like Justice League tryout program tests a lot better with the American people than putting bombs in supervillains' heads and sending them on suicide missions.
Yes, they're the worst of the worst, but one, it's inhumane, and two, it breaks multiple international bylaws, including war crimes.
Yeah, exactly. So so Steve is like, either do that, or either get with the program, or we'll shut you down.
Imagine if Waller was a handler at one of the SDNs.
Oh God! Oh God! Z-Team would be infinitely more scary then.
No, not the one in not the main one in LA. She takes over the one in Belle Reve, because I think Belle Reve is based in Florida.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, and that's where the Suicide Squad comes from in this universe. So yeah, you could do that.
So yeah, that would be that location would just be a front for the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like it's the branch that everyone hears rumors about, but but no one will question it because they're afraid of Waller.
Or go out of their way to report them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Then we could do a story where Mandy decides to do an investigation. Well, she's not Blonde Blazer anymore, so she'd be going in without powers, forcing Robert Mega Man to go with her while Mandy conducts the investigation.
Yeah, and Robert's like, "Are you crazy? Do I have this?" I'm like, "I'm still a hero, even if I don't have powers."
Look, I appreciate you giving up the amulet to save Chase, but Waller's not the type of woman you want to cross.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you don't have powers anymore. He goes, "But I'm still Blazer."
Look, just promise me you're just going to file your report and not say anything to piss her off.
Yeah, it's more of like them doing surveillance from a car, and you can have like that. You can have that like banter you always see in surveillance. Like, she's like, "How do you heroes do this? Surveillance is so boring." How does Batman do this?
Because he's Batman?
Shut up. No, Batman's in the backseat of the car the whole time. They never notice. He goes, "Because I'm Batman." They're like, "Shit. How do you do that?" He goes, "You just answered your own question."
I'm Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
I can see Bruce doing this. Like,
and it's like, Robert asks, "Do you ever get tired of that because I'm Batman thing?" And he goes, "No." I mean,
you do.
The truth.
The main reason I'm following you, kid, is because you're a lot like your father.
And then all Robert does is turn to his face boost and go, "Martha."
Yes, you're able to read the side of a computer. What does that have to do with anything? You can read a tablet.
You got the joke, right?
Yes, I got the joke.
Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure. But no, he goes, my mother's name is Martha too. I'm just kidding. But its surveillance leads to it leads essentially to like Shroud's hideout, and then Batman is like, "Let the A-listers handle this now." And then Robert goes, "Have you ever encountered Shroud before?" And then Batman goes, "No." And then Michael goes, "My team will handle it." And then
why would I bother? This is just some dejected lowlife with delusions of grandeur.
Yeah, and then Batman goes, "We'll handle it before you Z-listers screw it up." And then Batman goes, and then Robert goes, "Well, we are the Z-Team."
Yes, do you want a commemorative T-shirt while you're at it?
And then Batman goes, and then Robert goes, "Yes, I'm a size large."
I know what you're trying to do. You don't want to go down this route because you're not going to be able to prevent what happens next. You
And
never
then,
look. When you stare into the abyss, it looks back at you.
and then Robert goes, "Oh, you mean when Wonder Woman went on a rampage last week?"
Especially if you were to have a kid in this life. You don't get to joke. I know what happened. I know you don't want to admit it, but Bobby was an asshole. He had his faults. He did it for the glory. He didn't do it for the value of saving lives.
And then Robert
He
goes,
was,
"Why did
he
you
was,
say that name?"
he was a spoiled brat,
Okay.
and everybody knows it. But as much of a bastard as he was, not even he deserved to die.
Okay, so that works, but so then then you could have a the Z team do the raid, but like Batman was watching from his satellite, and Robert goes, "You have a satellite?" And the Batman goes, "I have 6.
7 for counting San Francisco.
8 if you count the watchtower."
Does anyone? And then Flambe goes, "Does anyone count the watchtower?"
And then he go and then yeah, and then Guy Gardner goes, "Hey, would you like a glass of water?"
You really are damn obnoxious, aren't you?
That's kind of my thing.
Can I boil him?
Hey, what's up, Randy?
Hey, what's up, Randy? How's it going? But wait, who would have the biggest beef? Flambe and Guy Gardner, or Sonar and hold on, what's a good matchup? Sonar
and Batman. And Batman's like, and then Batman goes, "Another man bat?"
Why am I not surprised? Hey, to be fair, I was in a bad place when I agreed to be Langstrom's lab rat. I was not in a good place. And I got a literal demon baddie from hell. I came out the other end, but I came out the other end pretty good.
And Zatanna takes one look at Malevolent and goes, "Oh, John Constantine is going to love you."
Oh, you know Johnny too. Do I know Johnny? Oh, bullocks.
And then Constantine is in the background blushing, and then and Zia's like is like staring daggers at him.
I'm not going to be able to deal my way out of this one, am I?
And then Wonder Woman goes, "No, you're not. You're really not." And then Robert, and then Diana goes, "And you have very strange taste in women."
Have you met me, Diana? I'm insulted.
And Diana says, "Touche."
To be fair, I've done a lot worse, especially when drunk.
That's so good. That's so good.
At least you didn't sell your bloody soul this time. Hey, only we Brits get to say that, you bloody wanker.
and then like another British member of the league goes, "At least you didn't sell the your soul this time." And then Constantine goes, "I wasn't talking to you."
Captain Boomerang and Constantine. I'm sorry, I keep thinking of Apocalypse War. Captain Boomerang and Constantine.
Yeah.
I did not know I needed.
I remember that. That was so good. Where they're like, Brit, Aussie,
bloke, convict.
That was the best. I recently rewatched that movie, and when I got to that scene, I forgot about that moment. I was like, "Oh, that's good." But yeah, so let's see, where else can we take this?
Well, the Z team gets more notoriety, but who gets to graduate into the Justice League Unlimited proper?
Of them, Blazer probably.
Well, Blazer
gets her powers back.
Yeah, she gets the amulet back once Chase recovers enough to where he doesn't need it for essential life support. Phenomenon, Waterboy. Waterboy gets a spot, even if it's just him being a glorified janitor. Because
Phenomenon, I'm not too sure about, because you can have Batman go, "We have 3 Supermen."
He could just be he could be security detail.
but it's like but then Batman goes, but he's emotionally unstable. The minute someone breaks his heart, he turns into a perpetual sad sack. And then Catwoman goes, yes, remind you of anyone?
I don't get it. But at least on the Watchtower, Phenomena Man can brood and then get a new sense of purpose after the breakup. Because depending on your playthrough, I mean, it just depends on the player's playthrough. It just gives Phenomena Man something to do.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you that.
I don't think Flambe graduates the first go around because of his temperament.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since in one of his challenges he has to tolerate getting reprimanded and trolled by Guy Gardner, who's just having a field day trying to get this guy to get pissed off.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. Coupe, she's a former mercenary, so she's willing to cooperate.
And by the way, it's pronounced Coop.
Coop, thank you. If Coop is willing to give up all her past
Coop joins the Suicide Squad.
Okay, she does a stint in the Suicide Squad first. Okay, so she gets transferred to Florida. Oof.
Yeah, oh boy. So she's a Florida woman now? Oh no.
Well, at least her boyfriend's along for the ride.
Yeah, and then Man-Bat joins the Justice League Dark.
Like, how would Langstrom react to his former student and lab rat becoming Sonar?
He'd be like, I'm such a proud papa.
You didn't create me. You used me as a guinea pig when I was in a stupor.
But it worked. And then Man
and you were paid.
It worked. We could be Batman together. Not that Batman.
Not to mention you were amply paid. I gave you a stipend. It's not my fault you blew through it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you go.
In my defense, most of it was on painkillers.
Yeah, exactly. And Man-Bat was like, but hey, I bought some Xbox games.
That's not an upgrade. And why Xbox specifically?
Because Xbox is better than PlayStation. Bite me.
Fair enough. But yeah, we're kind of spitballing here because, again, we only have one season to work with.
Yeah, it's like they fight and take out like Shroud. So there you go. Oh, but we can make it where to tease the next threat, Shroud was essentially being puppeted by Darkseid.
Possibly.
To distract the heroes while he was taking care of some machinations in the background.
Sounds like something he'd do.
Ooh, and then, yeah, so let's see. So where else could we go with this? I think that's about it for this topic.
Yeah, I feel like that's about it. Oh, Nemo says Young Justice. We actually did do a Young Justice episode. And we actually do need to do a follow-up for season 2 with the Reach arc. So when we eventually get to that, we will announce that. But while we're here, since we're still on, Jared, any new comics you've been looking at lately?
I've been reading a lot of the Elseworlds Superman omnibus and enjoying that. I've been reading Paul Dini's Zatanna, the Dark Reign Thunderbolts, but mostly I've been reading and enjoying a lot of the Absolute Universe, which is fantastic still. And it's utterly amazing how if you actually try and come up with original ideas, how well that works out for you.
As for me, I recently wrapped up Hush 2, and I'm like, I knew I wasn't expecting much going into it, especially with all the delays, but it was mid. It's definitely a downgrade compared to the original comic. I recently got back into Flash. I at least caught up to Dylan North's run. I at least caught up to him, and I actually like. Yeah, I like Flash. I like Flash. I just couldn't get with the vibe Spurrier was going for. He's more of a horror-based writer, and that doesn't always translate well.
Yeah, but I feel like he's at least for the most part, like pretty much is doing for fairly well because the Flash run, he manages to like have like the horror element of it, but also a little bit more of like the the like more fun element of the Flash. So it's for the most part, it's like I think he's doing a good job.
Yep, I agree. All right. With I know
Oh,
this is
and
gonna be
Randy says his Superman Wonder Woman Volume 1 shows up in the mail. Enjoy, because that is peak.
enjoy. But with I might as well add this topic now since I might get requested. What do you feel about the DCU going forward and leading up to Supergirl's release? Do you think it'll bomb? Do you think it'll be a success, or at the very least a good movie despite the lack of a draw?
I think the problem with Supergirl is she's not as big of a character as people think she is. If it fails, see, here's the thing. With me, I kind of feel like it's gonna be I don't think it's gonna profit because again, Supergirl isn't that big of a draw, and they're already starting the coping. Do I think this is gonna affect DCU? For right now, the way it would affect the DCU is I think it would affect it by you're going to see a lot more of the obscure Z-list, D-list characters, their projects being canceled, and a lot more like Wonder Woman, Batman, The Flash, a lot of the A-list projects being greenlit first. But if the DCU keeps flopping, like let me put it this way, if the next few DC projects flop, and by I mean Supergirl, Lanterns, and then Man of Tomorrow underperforms, I don't think they're going to keep Gunn around.
Hold on, let me actually look this up because they keep downplaying the budget. Say reportedly the budget is $180 million. I feel like this is going to be Marvel's 2.0. But if I had to be if I had to be objective and realistic, if this ultimately if Supergirl does Black Adam numbers, I would consider that a win.
Yeah, but the problem is we would consider it a win, but the studio may not consider it a win. That's the problem. And okay. there's only so long that we're building up our audience trust. There's only so much that could last until like the studio's like, okay, you should have been profiting by now.
Yeah, I mean, we all know Clayface is going to profit because it's a horror film and it's on a small budget. So at least
that one I think has a chance, but again, it's like Supergirl. She's not that big of an audience draw.
Oh, I didn't know it was this bad. I did not know it was this bad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, it'd be.
That's why I'm like, oh no. Well, at the very least, there'll be another Tom King flop.
I mean, the book itself is pretty mid, and the comic itself was mid to begin with, but even the Marvel's projected better than this.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh no, yeah, that's not a good place to be in.
Oh, oh God.
Which is why, I mean, it could do better later.
It can improve.
It can improve. But if these numbers keep, the movie's not going to do well. And here's going to be the first clue. If they take it out of theaters early. Because if they take it out of theaters after, like, let's say, about the same time they did Superman, that's the biggest indicator that it's not doing well.
I believe it's a 45-day window as testified in court.
Yeah, but it's like even when the Netflix CEO was in court talking about it, he goes, yeah, they took it out of theaters because Superman did not do well in the theaters. Or at least underperformed. So it's like if the DCU keeps because there was a certain degree when he could use the excuse of we're building up audience trust again. With like Superman underperforming, you could kind of go with the whole, well, we're just building up audience trust. If you give me more time, I can like create something. The problem is you're going to get to the point where the studio is going to be like, you need to start profiting now. And then the first step they're going to do is, And honestly, if I were in the DC, if I were in charge of the DCU or I were overseeing Gunn, I would say, okay, until the Justice League, which is the Justice that people know about, which is like the original 7, until those characters get movies, or at least the Trinity, you're not greenlighting any more D-list characters.
And I would like to think that's fair, but I feel like the biggest consensus here is the Paramount merger. Now we all know a lot of things are in flux. You got to go with the general commission, but assuming everything goes as planned and everything goes through, do you really see Paramount restructuring the DCU or just cutting their losses, kicking James Gunn to the curb, and we just do a bunch of standalones to build back momentum?
I think the second option. I do think that if these projects continue to do badly, especially this Supergirl, if this does really poorly and then Man of Tomorrow also underperforms, then I would say yes, they will get rid of Gunn. Now, will they hard reboot the DCU? I honestly still doubt they will do that. It's more likely they'll take it in a new direction. And sort of try and course correct. And if the course correction doesn't work, then they'll do the hard reboot.
And I know DC, trust me, I grew up with DC. I grew up with the DCAU. I want DC to have a win. I really do. But first of all, Marvel, the MCU and Marvel, they had lightning in a bottle. So much went well for them in such a short period of time. By the time Endgame rolled around, they either completely squandered it or it's just not the same people working on it. Not to mention, they had higher ups and supervisors who knew how to rein them in from their worst impulses as creators.
Yeah, exactly. So with Gunn having no impulse control, that's the horrible thing, because he's greenlighting all these projects that aren't audience draws. I'm sorry, Booster Gold is not an audience draw.
Now, Booster Gold I could actually see, because that way you could revamp and with Blue Beetle, and you can connect Ted Cord and Jaime with that.
But still, it should not be a movie theatrical release.
Oh no, it would have to be a TV show. It would have to be a TV show.
Yeah, I mean, but I still think you need to bring back the epic event movies, like let me put it this way: if you do a Justice League movie, that should be an event that you should market that as an event you can't miss. That's one of the reasons why Endgame was as big as it was, because guess what? They made it. In order to be culturally relevant, you have to watch that movie.
Not to mention, if you actually remove the setup and all the previous films leading up to that, Endgame is a clusterfuck of a film. Let's be honest.
Yeah, if you try and watch it as a standalone movie, it's almost impossible. It's like, who are you? Even in Infinity War has that issue to a minor degree. Yeah, go ahead.
Infinity War is not as bad, but I get your point. It's not as bad.
Like you need to have what you essentially need to do is you need to make it so the audience feels like they need to watch this movie, and you haven't had that for a long while.
I agree, and this just boils down to diminishing returns and brand decline.
And it's like the more you do these projects that flop, the studios are going to see it more as an issue with DC in general and not the projects you're greenlighting.
Because even if you go back to the original site, I wasn't going to say anything until I actually saw an official product. But who in their right mind would commission an Authority movie in their Chapter 1? Now, a Superman movie with the Authority as the villain, that could work.
Jay Heat, it gets worse. How do you make your first DCU project Creature Commandos?
Oh, that was contract mandate. That's just a revamped Suicide Squad. That was due to contracts.
Flip them. Make Superman your first movie. I highly doubt the contract was this has to be the first project.
Oh no, they were contractually mandated to actually be officially released. You could have
released, yeah, but flip those two and release Superman first.
I don't think it would have helped, because for all intents and purposes, Peacemaker Season 2 was supposed to be the companion piece to Superman 25. I don't think it would have made a difference.
Well, there's also the idea that I have that Peacemaker should not have gotten a Season 2, but that's beyond the point.
I mean, I'm not saying because again, you got contracts and you got these acting deals, and people actually doing these jobs, putting these series and shows to life.
They had a verbal contract with Henry Cavill, and they tossed him to the curb.
But there was nothing in writing.
That is very true, but it's like you could buy out the because if then they shouldn't have said we're doing a full reboot.
If you still wanted to commit to the reboot, the safest option would have been to leave Peacemaker within the DCEU or keep Peacemaker standalone, finish that season, and then depending on season 2's relative success, you could recanonize it after the fact, or you could leave it alone.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been the safest way to go about it.
Yeah, but they're not going to do that because they're like, oh, we want to reboot. Or how about this? Don't reboot and try and actually use what you had, because you had the bones of something great.
At worst, you only had to recast Ray Fisher and Ezra Miller as Cyborg and Flash.
Mostly Ezra, because Ray was willing to come back.
Wait, didn't he? Oh no, that was with.
He said he wouldn't work under Hamada. Hamada had gone at that point.
Okay. Thank you for clearing that up, Jared. Thank you.
So it's like you or at least give that universe a conclusion with the Justice League, and then guess what? You're done. You can move on, do whatever you want to do. But no, they decided we're just gonna make we're not gonna actually have a conclusion. And I'm like,
we're just gonna rush out these last 3 films, have Flash act as our reboot, even though you should have. Even though
it wasn't a reboot, that's the other thing. It really wasn't.
And I get why everyone goes to Flashpoint, because it's the reset button.
It's the easiest reset button, but it's like Flash has other stories that could make good movies besides the reboot button.
It's just a whole thing. Now, I'm going to briefly go over to Marvel for a bit for this last topic. Out of the multiverse saga, which phase would you say was at least decent out of the 3 between phases 4, 5, and 6?
The
everything since post Endgame.
There's not a lot that I would say was Thunderbolts.
Okay, I would say Thunderbolts. I would have to rewatch. Go ahead.
Thunderbolts I enjoyed the most. I didn't watch Ironheart, nor do I have any plans to, because it looks horrible, and I saw half of episode 1 and I was like, I'm done. Cap was okay at best, but really Thunderbolts is the only thing that I full on enjoyed.
Fair enough. As for me, a lot of these projects had potential. They just kind of went.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to guess,
they probably needed to go in a new direction.
Loki, well, they did by snubbing Kang for Doctor Doom, which it's doable, especially if you're going to do Secret Wars. It's doable, but you still need some kind of setup, even if it was just one film.
The MCU setting something up properly? Nah, banish the thought.
I wasn't gonna. You know what? This is the last. I know we're trying to wrap up, but I'm gonna say it. Bringing Rod Downey Jr. back was a desperate stunt grab. I'm not saying the man can't act. I'm just saying, do we really need to risk draining the budget more just to bring RDJ back?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
but they need people to be able to come into the to want to see the movie.
I mean, you already. That's a topic for a different stream, but it's about time we started wrapping up. Jared, thank you so much for coming on to the show. What do you got coming up, or what do you like to promote?
Yeah, so Britt and I are going to be doing an episode comparing He-Man and Teela to Superman and Wonder Woman, because there's a lot of similarities with those relationships. Robert and I are going to be talking about what if He-Man crossed over with Wonder Woman, because that's one crossover I can't believe we haven't seen before. And for Under Two Capes, we're going to be talking about the 2 times DC and Masters of the Universe crossover. This is kind of He-Man week for obvious reasons. Movie night, we're going to be talking about Days of Future Past, the Rogue Cut. And for Super Pals, Robert and I are going to be talking about Ultraman.
Nice. As for me, be sure to be on the lookout for more gaming playthroughs. Also, my reviews for Maul Shadow Lord, Mandalorian Grogu later this week. Hopefully I can get those done soon, but I'll make an official announcement. Like I know this was kind of a last minute conversation, a surprise one, but I really appreciate those who've come onto the show, like, comment, subscribe. Thank y'all so much for everybody. Flame off.